Okay, we're on.
Okay. Hello and welcome. It must be fall, and we all are together for a budget meeting. One of four, hopefully one of three. We will, really don't have an agenda, but we've got everything we need, I think, before us, so that we can take a look at it. And I have another document coming. It's not a document, it's something that Berkheimer sent to us. I don't know if you guys have seen it or not. It's projection of what our situation may be for second or third quarter of this year, and nobody knows what the heck's going to be going on in 2021. So.
Question, I don't have that, and.
It's coming.
Okay, and then the audit report?
The audit report. You don't have that?
No.
Okay. Do you have the audit report?
Let me go see, Julia, do you know, were those on Lynn's desk?
Yeah, Lynn should have them.
Okay. Let me go see if I can get one.
Julia, do you have a copy?
It's on my desk.
Okay. It's kind of a situation where it's up. Take a look at it.
Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
This particular email is specific to Smithfield Township, and if you have a chance to just glance through it.
Is that reduction on a quarterly basis? So you're talking close to $100,000 a year, or $75,000?
Well, that's what we're trying to figure out. But as we begin the process, we'll take a look at some historic data, 2019, and of course, where we stand in 2020. That'll give us a little bit of an idea, and that's through September. I don't know that we're going to go anywhere near what they're forecasting, but hopefully we won't. So having said that, 2019, 2020 here. Did you get? Yes, you did, Holly.
Just so everybody understands the worksheet, a little bit different from the past, I think, but what we did is we took the year-to-date up to September and then added in the fourth quarter of last year. Since not everything is easily annualized, say, okay, it's going to be, an extra quarter at three-quarters amount, so that way we have something on an annualized basis to look at. line first?
Yeah. And we should have 19 and 20 before us. Probably fun with these masks. So I'm looking at 2019, and of course I'm going to go right down to the EIT, take a look at it, and 2019 was 607. 2020, today it's 587, so we're down there. And that didn't creep up, but we were holding our own for the first quarter at least. I think, Jacob, you were looking at these as they came in. Then all of a sudden, we started to fall off a little bit. Looking at, also for the, real estate taxes, in 2019, it was $409,180.10. Right now, we're at $379,224.71. So we're showing bits of decreases through September, but this is through September. So we've got the last quarter to get through and see where we are with it.
So it sounds like for the earned income tax, we'll start with the first 3 quarters of the year, and then you will receive the third quarter yet. If that's until October.
No, I don't think so. You mean our EIT?
How frequently do they remit it?
They, probably, not quarterly, but, that would be, it's an ongoing situation where we can go in and just take a look at it. And, we have,
That's what I went.
Yeah, I thought it was always quarterly.
no, not with the Berkheimer in this particular one. That's why we were able to do this.
Quarterly too.
All employers should file quarterly, they don't remit monthly or anything like that. But anyhow, so you have the third quarter yet to receive. And then the question is when you.
Yeah. And classically.
Usually we accrue for that at the end of January.
And let me say this, that, classically, when I look at this, usually in going into the fourth quarter, I get a little bit panicky. But to tell you the truth, it comes through, and it comes through before the end of the year. So it's not something we're going to see in 2021. Most of it will be reflected. And I guess I didn't ask her to do that. Show us all of 2019. Oh, here we go.
Are we just gonna start filling in that column?
Yeah, I think that's.
I mean, we gotta get started with something. Right.
Yep.
I'm just thinking for the earned income tax.
Well, it's not that letter, it's
Yeah.
It's scary quarterly, but the projecting annually, if you look at the bottom of that page,
Yeah.
3%. Reduction calculated 3% over 19. Right.
From 19 collection.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and if you go to the
And then the
second page,
next page,
at the very top, it says,
Yeah, the
projected
81.
Smithfield lose up to $9,000 in tax revenues every month. So
Right.
then we just go with the, $108,000 drop.
Yeah, and I don't think we're seeing that, though. In reality, so far, we're not seeing that, the monthly drop. But
right, that's like the worst case.
that's the worst-case scenario with them, yeah.
Yeah, I don't foresee it being 100%. It might not even meet the, projected annualization, but I don't think it's gonna be a terrible drop.
I agree with you, Jacob, I feel the same way. However,
Real quick,
We'll
if
have to
you
look
take
into
last
it.
year's 836,000, and 3%, that comes up to that 25,000 amount.
right,
That's what they're talking about, they're expected for the whole year.
right.
And that's what I'm trying to figure out between now and the end of the year. We already have 588,000 in,
587, yeah. And that's through September. And as I'm saying,
there's gonna be a big chunk that's received in October.
amen, and then October, and even, we finished strongly, in early December. So, I just wanted to share this, and it was kind of a red flag, if you will.
So the actual last year was 836,000, the budget is 800 for 2020. If we took last year's receipts into this year, it comes to 817, so it looks like it's gonna be somewhere between 750 and 800,000.
I was thinking about 750.
Yeah, if you wanna be conservative.
Well,
Start at the top and then start banging away.
Yeah, why don't we nail down the earned income and then we start from the top again, how's that sound?
okay, well, we're at earned income now, and as you said, in 2020 through September, it was 606,000. And right now, we're somewhat below that. But 20-some thousand.
So we're looking at 750,000 as a conservative amount, or what do you?
I think 750 sounds like a good number for the earned income.
And I think that's very conservative, because actually, I think we're gonna be closer to 800,000 since last year's final was 836, but this is a bumper.
And business and, you know, the economy's starting to pick up, you know, a little bit. There was definitely a solid pause there for several months, but I think a lot of people are functioning as normal with masks. And, you know,
Yeah,
the
I think
state,
that, too, Jacob, there are people that are not working, that we're not even aware of. And, I think a lot of it is predicated, what's gonna happen to ski season? We have to know our own little territory here and see what's coming up.
Well, last
And
year
what
we didn't
we've
have ski
experienced.
season either, because there was no really limited snow other than what they made, and the temperatures weren't great.
No, man.
And they make it, and they start, and they'll start making it as soon as we get 1 or 2 nights that are below freezing.
Mhm.
And, they were packed. They were packed, we would drive by and take a look at them, and it was good to see.
Okay.
I'm not worried so much about that, I'm just thinking of restaurants and the places that we used to go to, and there's hardly anybody there, so it's just something to keep in mind. But
750,000 gives you a reduction of almost close to 10% over last year's actual,
and that's,
so I think that's a good
okay.
conservative estimate.
The Restaurant Association says that they think that a quarter of the restaurants in the United States will never reopen.
yep.
but do we want to go back to the real estate,
Yeah, let's go up
tax?
top there.
Yeah. So last year's actual was 125,000. This year, if you analyze based on last quarter, added to this first 3 quarters actual, comes to just shy of 400,000.
So the situation here is that, you mean the 379, Alex?
The top, the first number.
The 379,
Yes,
Yep.
379.
okay.
If you
Now,
add it together-
let me say that we had 2 windfalls, okay, and again, we've got to talk about the experience that we're living through. And it was coordinated health, both of those sales, and then down at the, where the diner is on 209, Lantern Diner, is it, not the Lantern, it's the, what's the name of that diner?
Landmark?
Landmark, yeah.
Up in the motel?
The Landmark, all 3 properties down there sold, and they turned over, and we saw that reflected. So we've been fortunate in that respect, but we don't see anything else coming our way.
Was that delinquent real estate taxes? Because I'm not
No.
sure how that would affect.
Well, that'll be reflected in
The
the,
traffic.
that'll be real, right.
The transfer tax, it'll affect transfer
Yeah.
tax.
Right.
But for right now, so we can take that into consideration with the transfer taxes. So for the real estate taxes, it looks like 400,000 would probably be a good estimate, and it sounds like the real estate market is hot. So I think you're gonna go up over 400.
I think so. I'd be kind of, relatively bullish on that with the 400, I think, because, more people have moved here and, we don't have the interim taxes in yet, so some of that will probably be factored into, the taxes next year, our new residents.
I think also part of what we're seeing, the state for paying your taxes has been pushed back this year because of COVID and what's going on, so a lot of people haven't paid the taxes yet. It is not going to be this year.
When did that come due? So when, it was pushed back until September, I thought. August.
Right, but the base period is until, December 31st.
Yeah, right.
So happy.
Right, yeah,
Time for people
Oh,
to
the
pay the
discount.
taxes.
the discount
Well,
was,
the discount is
right.
available for.
Right, but, I think everybody followed the county's model in going to December 31st for the base period and then the penalty period right after that. So there's probably gonna be more delinquent taxes, but I would imagine a lot of people are gonna be able to pay for this year.
I do too.
So what do you want, 400?
I think 400
I'd
sounds
put
like a good
400.
number.
400.
Right.
I think that's a good conservative number. Okay, so prior year taxes, we really haven't budgeted for that in the past. Shall we leave that in the delinquent at 0? Since we haven't budgeted that in the past, and then it's, like it's in your favor? Or you want us to, add a budget item for that?
I think it's very hard to guess that too.
I would leave those two at 0, and interim at 0. Okay, so now we have the real estate transfer taxes, and you had the windfalls.
Yep.
Did they come through as of September, were they actually?
Yeah, they did.
Those are, I think, midsummer.
Yep.
So last year was 215,000, we're already at 225. If we add in last year's quarter, we did 300, but we're not gonna have that for 2021.
No.
Correct.
But
So we
maybe,
budgeted 215 in 2019, correct?
Well, the actual was 250,000, the budgeted was 180, so I think if you budget 215, you'd be okay, because as we said, the real estate market is hot, and you are gonna see more real transfer taxes. Does that make sense?
I think 215 makes sense, because it's still going to be a relatively good year. I think people are still preparing to move out, and as more, becomes available in the next, few months, even, building, I think people will still buy custom builds too.
Yeah, there is actually new buildings going up south for the first time in 8 years.
Yeah, there's tons, they're running out of supplies, so that's really competitive to start. I mean, we see builders in here, every day getting, permits for, custom builds or refurbishments and stuff. Plus stuff that people did on their own with the free time they had.
Okay, so the LST then would be our next one. And based upon what's happening with the EIT, I would have to say we're probably gonna be 162 actual last year, we budgeted 150. I think 150 is a good budget
Again.
again.
Yep.
And your permits all sound like they're going pretty much in good order. Did you wanna use the same budgeted amount as you did last year, cause the roll forward actual looks pretty close? What do you think? I think all those permits.
I think absent COVID, we probably would have hit 31 or close to that this year. I think that number might be reasonable. There's a lot of, particularly on the commercial side, people are going to be building with the adoption of the economic development zone. We have a couple of pretty big projects that are anticipated to at least start in earnest. And so I certainly think that it'll be closer to that 31 than it would be the 27.
Like 31?
I'm good with that.
All right.
And then the small ones, I mean, at a minimum, sewage, you might wanna just break, you know,
Yeah.
cut the difference and make it 3,000 instead of 4. But everything else, I mean, compared to last year, probably would be suitable. So 200 for licenses, and then, sales.
And their guesstimate says, right, Alex,
Right.
wanna leave it as it is?
I would just take over the, well, temporary signs, we haven't gotten anything. We could leave that at 300. Well,
Yeah.
permits, I think that's gonna go up. We would be at 750 based upon the annualization. Do you wanna say 500 instead of 250?
And where are you at?
Well permits,
Will permits.
320.005.
Right. That sounds reasonable.
So, it was 500, and we closed at 460.
Yeah, last year we were at 460, and you budgeted 250, but I think you're gonna be closer to 500 for 2021.
Well, let's go for it, all right.
What did you think for 320,003, the yard sale?
I left that at 200.
Oh, okay.
It's a small amount anyhow.
Right, yeah,
Yeah.
I just missed
We could
it.
leave it at 0 because it's not huge, but it's up to you.
200's fine, I just didn't hear.
And then special events, I think 400 looks like a good number. And last year was 5, we're at the actual 4, so 2021, I think will be about the same, and with COVID, it could go down, but these are small amounts. And then I would leave in, encroachment at 200.
Okay.
Okay, and that brings us to the cable TV revenues, and it looks like it's been hanging close to 120,000. Would you expect any changes in that? Is there any reason why that would change?
If it's gonna be changed at all, at least, next year, it'd probably go up a little bit, but I think 120.
Yeah, because we signed, what was that, an 8-year extension onto the franchise agreement
Yeah.
earlier?
Doesn't mean that it's gonna be around in 8 years, but we did do that,
As
so
long as
we're
people
back
still
in
get
line.
cable.
What affects that revenue? Does it change by the number of people that hook in?
Right, it's 5%, paid at the point of service for, by the consumer.
So if we have increase in new home sales, that could go up, correct? If you have more people hooking in?
Yeah, good.
Theoretically. With this, though, it seems to have been so close to that number each
Yes.
year.
Yeah, it's
I don't
almost
think,
consistent.
I don't think it would be smart to bet on anything more than 120.
No, what I was trying to do is look in the opposite direction. It looks like it goes up for months, and keep it where it's at. It's not like it's potentially gonna go down. So 120, sounds good, 120,000.
And then we'll look at the local district justice fines.
800 looks good, because you're at 760 for actual this year.
That's the highest it's ever been.
Wanna make it 500?
I would say, you mentioned 850?
Well, it annualizes to about 850.
Yeah.
It was 760 so far. 500 would be very conservative if you haven't had that much in the past.
Right.
Well-
If it matters, we had 250 for 19, 185 for 18, and 1,500 for 27.
Right. So,
It fluctuates.
Just try the door.
well, 90% of it is below it. I think we have 1 year, I forget what year it was. You mentioned it,
27.
2017.
I'm not even certain,
I don't even know what the heck that was about, to tell you the truth, but it's,
because the state police fines, those would be the ones that are, like the speeding tickets and all that stuff, so I don't know what all the fines make up for the local district justice, because parking lot's full no matter what, but that doesn't indicate,
that's
know.
right.
maybe like 200.
Well, if we're at 7, I'd like to talk to the judge
This
about
is
that.
very immaterial, so
Yeah,
let's
you're right.
pick a number.
500.
And police fines, you could make that 100. It hasn't been, or last year you got some towards the end. I would leave that at the prior year budgeted amount of 400.
Okay. That's what it is, yeah.
Okay, so then the interest on the checking account is pretty consistent. Last year it ended up close to 30, 29,000, so I think 23,000 would be pretty close.
So when we wanna look at this, we wanna know if we're gonna have any monies, that'll be used, okay? In these checking accounts, they're usually general funds, we have the two banks. Right now, we may see a decrease in the balance, possibly, because of things that are coming our way and what we're going to do, but not that much. Well, I'm looking at, 2019-20 would be,
20 sounds good. True.
and
Other interesting comments, that might be on the smaller accounts.
so I would wanna leave it at, I think it was, 1,000 looks good.
Yeah, and if we annualize, it'd be close to 1,000, so let's leave it.
Okay, rental income. I don't wanna get into this right now, we're gonna talk about it this afternoon. We're about to sign a new lease for 10 more years with the district judge. And, what we did is we looked at what we had in the past, and, we started at $25,000, we ended up at only 28,000, this is yearly, 28,500 or something, I don't have it in front of me, it's reflected here. And, which was over 10 years, I think that was, we undersold ourselves, so we're in the process now, we're gonna go to, the county commissioners, and we're gonna ask for more, but I can't give you that, maybe you'll have to fill that in after we meet this afternoon.
Sure.
And we'll see what the county says when we go to them.
And then, that's the big question, it's like all these grants, I know some of them kind of went away, you weren't able to necessarily do a whole lot of work on them, so. That's gonna be a big
Green
one.
Light Go is real confusing at the moment, 'cause it seemed to be, a cancellation, and now we're getting.
It was never canceled, as I said the other night at the meeting, that it's in limbo. So what we're saying there is there really is a concerted effort on to keep going with it. But as Robert has also said, but you can't rely on it, you can't bank on that. But the situation is that we are pretty much shovel-ready, so that when the 2021 budget, July, state budget, the thing comes in, we'll have a definitive answer, but that doesn't help us right now.
Well, just so that you can take a little pressure off your mind, really, it would be offset by the same amount of expenses.
Right.
So it's gonna have a net zero to your end. So that, we can look at, because what we would end up doing is we would say, okay, fine, we expect this much in revenue, but down below, we're gonna put that much in expenses as well. So on a cash flow basis, it's not necessarily going to hurt you. But on a budgetary basis, when they look at the line items for the audit, that's where it would end up. And we do our budget revision before the end of the year, so we can always correct it then.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking out loud, so.
Yeah. So do we wanna just leave that as it is?
Well, last year you budgeted the $550,000,
Five, yeah.
so I don't know whether you're gonna get that this
We're not gonna get it this year, that's for sure.
for 2021.
It's, as I say, it is in limbo right now, and
Well, I meant not for 2020, but for 2021.
for the budget we're working on now.
So it won't come through at all for 2021?
There's a chance that it will. I feel confident that it will, but it all goes back to what's going on and a lot of variables there. Even the fuels taxes and all that stuff that comes into play with these things. We're dealing with PennDOT But they, have come back to us twice, I think, with some pretty good, renderings of what they expect to do, and they feel confident that in 2021, in July, we should know in June and July we should be a go of next year.
So
But
if they awarded the full amount, my question is just kind of, loud. If they award the full amount in July 2021, are we gonna get all of that work done in August and September? Because that's basically your time frame to get that done. I know you're ready to go. But we would only be able to request reimbursement to the extent of the work that you'd be able to do. So maybe we need to look at the other side and say, hey, if you get this award, how much of it would you really be able to get done?
well, the situation, this is for both, Middle and Smithfield Townships. And that money, and there's some matching monies that are involved with that. We went through it last year, I believe, Frank. And I think, we're just about shovel ready. All it is taking the specs that are developed by PennDOT, thank God, going out, and we're gonna bid this together, Middle and Smithfield. We're gonna put the bid out, and then they come in. I don't know that the work itself is gonna, and the mechanicals, that's gonna cost a lot of money, but I don't think it's gonna be totally time consuming. This could be done in 2021. The money's there and it's available.
It is the spring. But we wouldn't be able to bid it until somewhere,
In July.
more in 2021.
Yeah, it's true, because you'd have the bid process that you wouldn't even have completed into the fall, maybe. You're not gonna really see that expenditure.
I'd say 2022.
To get back out there. So I think you're gonna be in zero for this year.
Well, yeah, 'cause if you're.
No, we'll be spending money in 2021. I just don't know what it's gonna be. We're there.
Can you spend and expect the, reimbursement on that grant if you don't even know if you're gonna get it? I guess that's the question.
No, we're not spending a penny, other than any incidentals that we might have run into.
So that's why I'm thinking maybe if we leave it at zero for now, zero income, zero expenses, we can correct it at the end of the year if in July you actually do get that money.
Because then it doesn't
Yeah.
give you artificial room on this budget either if you have it at zero. If we get it, wonderful. If not, it won't inflate anything.
Well, I'm thinking whether we should put maybe
No.
5,000 in there as a, let's say, payment to, John Donahue if he comes through, something, that's another grant that he's gonna write the proposal for.
I don't know, you can get reimbursed by PennDOT for any consulting work that he does with the state money.
No.
So that's what that is though.
Well,
This is the grant.
but it's still green light go, and what I'm hoping is find something where the 20% or 25% we're supposed to spend could be covered by some of the grant, so that we don't spend that.
Well,
If he comes through, we'll pay him something, with that. For grant writing.
well, I don't think it should go under the green light go, as Jacob has said. Maybe we just create another, just of what we need, right? Another line.
Yeah, I'd rather leave those.
Who was that?
Let's leave it, and we'll deal with it.
John Donahue, he was the former superintendent of the park. If we leave both at zero, we're kind of, not expecting, but also not expecting.
So for now, let's leave those income items at zero.
Okay, we're gonna leave those at zero.
And how about the Greenway Fish Pier? We actually do have, we had some expenditures last year, I don't think we've had any expenditures this year. We haven't gotten done with the third quarter yet.
That should be completed this fall.
How much was the total?
Our share is, about 50,000, something like that.
The grant, yeah, okay, so it was 141,000 total, and I did,
That's at Marshall's Creek.
Yeah.
Look at the Fish Pier.
the fish pier.
And about 85,000.
Where'd you get to the fish pier?
On the second, it's the first line item on the second page of this package. This year that I've put in.
for us, though, is to complete this project later this month. We are ahead, we're speaking until the gets back to the end of the year, problem, so we shouldn't necessarily have to have any.
Well, we had that meeting, down at the site. What did they, when they were start staging?
As soon as we get the go-ahead from DC, we begin the process. We should be doing.
I think Melissa said that, well, Brian and Melissa too. Okay.
Okay, so, I mean, we actually had close to $10,000 last year. I don't know if that was ever even requested. Has anything been requested from them?
No, until the project starts, we start serving costs, so we can't come in any.
Well, it looks like it's all gonna be eligible for 2020, so that will really would have zero impact on 2021, correct? Zero. And then the Marshall Falls, our grant of 141, that nothing happened on that last year. What is the status of 2020?
That's a good point. We thought something happened there, but, it didn't. We did some clearing to get an HOP and it wasn't allowed. And, we did apply for it, but we didn't. I think, no, I guess nothing went down.
So I'm not following, what is?
Anything gonna happen next year?
Hopefully the whole thing, what'll happen, I think, is that this will be put in place so we can, actually start the process, get it out to bid, and start to work on completion of it. And, again, that would be, the money is there, it's just getting everything in order.
So that sounds like it might be something that'll come together for 2021?
I think so. Robert, what do you think? Do you think that Marshall Falls 2021 come together?
I definitely think that.
Okay.
Especially if we get the fire company to burn it down.
You saw my message, did you?
Where does the $141,000 come from?
That particular one, I think, there were two different grants, I believe. And, the initial one was, I think, let's say, but I'm not 100% sure and I don't have it in front of me.
Yeah.
And what happened was that was for the purchase of 16 acres and I believe 2008, and so we purchased that land and carved out the 2 acres where the house and barn is on now.
Okay, so you're saying that you spent approximately $40,000 of the $180,000 grant that we got?
That was before the grant was even applied for.
Yeah.
So the $180,000 available?
So the DCNR got a grant for $180,000 and the match.
We're talking about 354.071, right? Okay.
Unless I've got the wrong grant, I mean.
No, you're the one that's been in those folders.
You know, I can go back, because I don't have my work papers in there, I made a lot of notes, started off my head around it. And I don't recall if that's that one or not. So, I guess we're gonna leave that one open, because if we can get it prepared and get the work done next year, there's a chance to get money. Okay, so let's figure out what that number is. I'll leave that one open for now. Okay, so then the next one would be, the recycling rate.
That's fairly consistent.
We got a good chunk last year, at the end of last year.
Is that reflected in there?
Yeah, well, if you look at the annualized numbers, the whole amount came in last year, it doesn't say that we've gotten anything this year.
It should occur, if not, I think in October. What was it last year? Was it?
The actual last year was 76,000. And I think that part of that.
Wait a minute, let me go back. Recycling grant funds,
Yes.
76,000.
I don't know, was that related to that vehicle, that truck that you have to buy?
There's gotta be 76,000 doesn't make,
I think that has to be an error, right?
The 220 truck that we purchased.
What is this?
Is actually different recycling grant, 500, over, $4 down.
so, say what?
The 220 truck that we purchased.
Yeah.
Was on the Oak Grove recycling grant.
Right, and that's the one that, Pat Calvin and yourself that worked out, and we've got it in for reimbursement.
I guess my question is, the recycling grant fund, that wouldn't be the one where we basically report the numbers of what's been recycled and get a few grand, is it?
That's what I'm looking at, and it's at 2,500.
Because maybe it's an error, because when you have a budget for 2019 of 6,200 and it says the actual is 76,000,
Yeah.
that's,
For 28, we also received
I think it's the small grant that's supposed to be only a couple grand at the lowest.
So then that
Yeah.
adjustment was probably just put to the wrong line item. So I would say probably sticking with $6,200 this month is, probably would work.
Yeah, wait a minute.
Because that's the exact difference of what the actual was, is the difference in that adjustment that hit the end of the year. So 6,200 probably was closer to what you actually received last year.
So I'm looking now at the January through September on this particular sheet, and on that same line item, the 354, 150.
And there's nothing received.
You see, no, and what it is the total amount of that grant was $290,512, and we now just
Brian, you're on the wrong
completed
line
them.
item.
I'm sorry?
You're in the wrong line item.
No, I'm on 354, right? 354, 500.
No,
But not. $354,500.
150,
354, 150.
and it's right below.
Oh, well, that's what, Jacob and I just agreed to. That's the,
Right, so that's why we're saying 6,200 is probably good.
52 would be a lot. 2,500 is usually what it is.
Well, last year, it looks like you got close to $6,200, 6,000. So, if you wanna leave it 2,500, that's fine, we haven't received it yet this year. When would you receive it?
I'm thinking definitely in the fourth quarter sometime.
Is it something you have to request?
It's already it's done.
Okay, so then what did we request?
It's a report, and, well, what happens is you have to go to your haulers and your, garbage providers, and, there's a sheet, if you will, a compilation of what they haul, what they get rid of, and then you, get a certain percentage of that.
So if that's been requested, do we have that number? Would Lynn have that number?
Lois would probably have it.
Lois?
Mm-hmm.
Question mark.
Yeah, so, we could ask Lois later.
And it's, and again, in my experiences, it's around 2,500.
Okay. All right, so then, Oak Grove Recycling, that's the one you're looking at now, and that's 290,000, and nothing's been done, right?
Well, everything's been done, and, because of, as you just mentioned, we finally, put that together, had it submitted, accepted. It's in for review for a reimbursement of $260-something,
Something near that number.
yeah.
But hopefully we should have that by the end of this year, so that should be
Right.
budget.
And we've been told that it looks like we will get them.
Okay.
Right,
Actually, that's
Casey.
something we'll need for third quarter as we're working on that, because we can put that income, we can identify where the expenses are and that income. So that would be a big help, finding that for third quarter, we're gonna do something.
Zero for next year.
Yeah.
So for 2021.
Right.
That
Right.
answers that question. And then the DCNR fishing pier grant, it looks like it's broken into two sections, but that would be zero this year too, is that correct? Yes.
Right.
And then Marshall Falls, LSO grant.
Okay, yep.
What's wrong with that?
And again, that's the grant, I believe there was a match with that. And I don't have it in front of me, but that is, as I said, there were two different grants. The LSA, and then there was Trailways and Greenways or something that was involved with it.
So the LSA grant, we got for 219,138. We requested approximately 45,000 more than that, but didn't get it. So after we received the grant, they said, hey, you have this deficit, show us how to make it up. At which point the township determined that we would give them, or make that up by using a payment for $45,000. So while LSA grants have no actual match, we kind of have to work it that it's 219 spread out with a match of 45 because we promised that to cover the gap.
So are you gonna
Yeah.
are you gonna get this money, or you got it?
We don't have it yet, no, this is still all tied up with the Marshall Falls stuff. We hope that we can, move this forward. We're waiting on Cindy
But it
report.
could potentially cost you 45 cents.
Yes. Because that is what the township has promised, we get all the grant funds that we got for it. But there's no actual match, so if we come in under budget, we don't have to spend that additional money.
Okay. So the question is when will you receive it? Have you requested and gotten some of that money in 2020?
No, we haven't even started.
No, this is spend it, and then you get it.
Okay, so then the LSA max that they would give you, is the 212 a good number for the LSA?
So the LSA grant that we received is actually $219,138. So I'm not sure where that 212 number came from.
You are, sir.
Yes, yes, in the grant agreement for the LSA grant,
219.
219,138.
You would receive, but then if we put the 219 down, then with, that'll be an expense.
So when we originally applied for the grant, let's say we asked for 265, and when we got the grant agreement, they said, hey, we're not gonna give you the entire 265, we'll give you 219. If this changes anything, how are you going to make up the deficit? Because you're running approximately 60,000 short. So one of our engineers or someone replied and said, hey, we will cover this with township cash. So.
But we don't know if we'll be short.
Right. So what we need to do is if we pick
will
up the
be.
219,000 in income, we have to pick up $265,000 in expenses if it all came out, like that's the worst case scenario.
Worst case.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
I'm gonna add to.
We're gonna do that then?
Yeah, the 219,138, put that for that.
219 and put 265 in the expense, that was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me see.
And then you could come below that, but it's conservative.
Right.
Yeah.
Here is the grant area, because we could just drop that in there and we talked about it.
Six of nine?
454,700.
Well, and you actually have a line item right below it that is the match itself. So do you wanna keep those?
Perfect, okay, but it should be 219, we'll put the 219 in.
Oh, you have it
And then the 45, or let's make it 46, just to round it, 46 in the match. Okay, that'll bring you up to the 265. Great. Okay, PERDA annual reimbursement. You got around 1,500 last year, budget was 1,500 for this year, you wanna keep it at 1,500?
Yeah, yep.
Sounds good.
Is there licenses? Well, since the restaurants are getting killed.
Well, we had 2 transfers, though.
Right?
Can't see anybody buying.
People are still drinking.
Well, they buying restaurants.
Yeah, if anything.
I can't see anybody buying anything.
So,
So we leave it?
Well,
Where do you want-
$3,000 last year, I
Probably
think
should
if
lower.
yeah, I
Yeah.
think if you leave it at 1,000,
1,000 sounds like a good number for that, especially since, you know,
Well,
who knows, and with the, you know, the requirement to, you know, you have to buy a, you know, substantive, meal to, you know, purchase alcohol now, well, in these places, and I don't anticipate anybody, you know, opening up any stores, so.
okay. Pension reimbursement fund. We haven't gotten anything for that, will we get that in the fourth quarter?
the pension, that is, it's been submitted, and, we expect, I think, the allowance, we're pretty much, right on there right now. It's, and we haven't increased it, and I don't know that we will. We're in budget, we're gonna be doing another negotiation for a new contract, but it seems to me that'll be consistent.
So that has been submitted, who would have that number for the,
Do you want me to go ask
Terry
Terry?
will.
Let me go see if I can get her.
Okay, yeah.
and if you see Lois, you can ask her about the recycling.
We're on the opposite
Oh, okay.
I'll go the other way.
Well, they ought to be sitting in here doing this.
Yeah, we could open the window.
And to go outside.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, we would need an extension cord. Oh, they're matching, that's wonderful.
Long story, but with a gift.
We just don't know. Actually, you know what, as we just look down for the engineering reimbursables.
We actually shouldn't talk about anything because we've lost our quorum right now.
Oh, okay, no problem, I was just brainstorming it to say
Okay.
something that we need to do, look at for the third quarter to make sure everything's done, so you wanna make your note to yourself, yeah. What are again? For the reimbursable engineering fees, you gotta just make sure everything's been billed. Sounds good. So Frank, is it just you, Tom's gone, right?
I bought him out about 3 years ago.
Was it?
He's in there as he works like his client under me. So, yeah, it's
Okay, Holly, Frank,
We actually got the,
we're not gonna get that money until 2021, it'll be about $2,000.
we got the, deposit, and Terry just made me a copy
Yeah.
for, the pension. I don't know who I should give this to, but it's $33,141.80.
Okay.
So if we
And
said
it-
33,000, but you're gonna have increases in your salary this year, you are doing raises?
Yeah. Well, we'll see.
So, Julie, do you want this, or?
That is,
For this is for this year.
33,000.
Yeah.
What about next year? When I say that.
I don't know. I'd imagine it might
It'll be
similar.
Yeah, it's gonna be similar, because what happens is, again, the state allows and reimburses for so much of this money.
Right.
And we want to stay on that level, and that came about because of union negotiations. So, we're at the max for reimbursement, and I don't think that's gonna change, so I would say it's gonna be about the same.
Okay, so raises down. And then the, fire insurance reimbursement, we just worked through that with Lynn.
Did you?
Yeah, so I don't recall what that number is.
All right. Oh,
I'll just write it in.
I think we received it though, right?
Well, we worked on the numbers about a month ago, right?
I think we got it, 'cause Frank, I think you and I signed checks for that, and you got paperwork a few weeks ago. Time is...
And we just probably in the last couple of weeks, we dispersed that money.
Right.
And so it's 48,000 again, you think?
I thought it was lower because the workers' comp premiums were lower.
Okay.
I don't recall what the number is, so we have to ask Lynn if we wanna break it after we. And we can just circle back to that.
Well, yeah.
I think we could circle.
48 for now, what, and then make,
Yeah, fire relief.
It's fine, yeah.
We approved that back on the 30th of September, it was $48,564.
Right. We approved it and we paid it, right? Dispersed it.
Okay, so now we're down to the reimbursable engineering fees. And our budget is lower than our actual to date for last year, so, and because real estate is doing well, I would say, we need to increase that reimbursement anticipation. Do you have any big projects that are gonna be coming through?
Well, we got Smithfield Gateway knocking on our door. I hope to gosh that gets going.
I think they're obligated to one of their tenants for the 40,000 square foot building, office building.
Yeah.
Plus, Dr. Khan
Do
is
it.
supposed to visit us later on this month to present his mixed use development, so definitely be.
Yeah. Then we got the airport, there's some good things happening over there
Right.
in that area.
So the annualized number based on what you got at the end of last year comes up to 40. You've gotten so far 19. Would 25,000 be a good estimate for 2021?
That sounds good, that sounds like it's the conservative end too.
Well, we'll see. And there's a lot of outstanding debt involved with that too. People are, not paying and running up into, thousands of dollars owed to us. And these are legitimate fees, as you know, Holly, that you can charge for certain services.
Right.
And, there's 2 instances at least that I'm aware of. Considerable amount of money. But that's neither, we don't do profit and loss, so.
Well, we've actually received almost 20,000.
Right.
Even if people are slowing.
Yep.
To get their projects done, they're gonna have to get that paid, which means you'll receive at the end of 2020 or in 2021.
Don't know.
That's why I think maybe 25 might be still a good number.
I think 25 is pretty good, 'cause even if things do slow, I think it's reasonable to think that we might hit the 25 this year anyway, with the number of projects that have yet to be presented or reviewed, particularly now as it's, the end of construction season is coming up.
So the legal fees kind of go hand in hand. And that is 17, so would you say 20,000 might be a good estimate for 2021?
Why not?
Sure. There's gotta be
It makes sense.
plenty of litigation, and the standard fees, but definitely
but
litigation.
it's the litigation that eats us alive, because we don't get reimbursed for most of it. And, again, there are only certain things allowed. DCNR,
Well, it was 10,000 budgeted last year.
yeah.
Is it unreasonable, 20,000 would be for?
Well, 10,000 last year, and I guess we're saying that 17,000 already?
Yeah.
Not already, but, we had a heck of a lot going on. A lot of stuff that was eligible for reimbursement. And, I don't know where that goes, I just don't know. 20,000, there's, I already wrote it down.
I think the real estate is gonna continue to stay high. I think that's
Okay.
right.
Yeah.
And then your subdivisions, sounds like that's going well too. I don't think that 10,000 would be unrealistic.
I agree.
Zoning public hearing, which is odd. Yeah, subdivisions going on.
Actually, we have not got the zoning public hearing, that the zoning hearing board has not met yet in 2020.
Yeah.
They gotta reorganize. Actually, we're gonna, we'll talk about that later, but they haven't met. So what's happened is, in a couple instances where maybe developers, builders had an option if they wanted to go have a hearing or come before the Board of Supervisors, and in certain instances, we could work with them in zoning and with counsel of our solicitor. So I think that's what's been going on lately.
You wanna leave the budget similar?
3,000?
Yeah, that would make sense.
Well, that one's confusing because.
No, yeah,
we had
public
several
hearing
public
application
hearings
fees.
this year.
It doesn't, public hearing application fees, now we're outside of the zoning per se. There is a fee, of course, and I think I'm gonna take a guess at it, $1,500.
Right.
And then you're gonna do estimated around 3 for 2020.
With,
You know, what do you think for 2021?
We've had like 3 or 4, I don't know why there's nothing reflected in that.
So maybe we need to go look for that.
are we on 361, 341, or 340?
340.
340.
Yeah, we had.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so we had Chapasso,
Tonight, we're gonna have one tonight?
yeah, we had Chapasso, we had,
Price
Chapasso not done yet, but we had Price Landing, that one.
So maybe that fees have been deposited, like coded to the wrong income account.
Yeah, that'd be my guess, 'cause we've,
Well, why? It seems to be a bit obvious that is,
What do we get, $1,500 for every?
for each one.
I mean, we should look at that as far as whether it's a personal hearing or a business hearing.
well, what we do
Like a
is,
lot or
we just, if it's $1,500 and we only spend 1,000, we reimburse the 500. 2021, where are we at?
We gotta put the 4,500 for that one?
Yeah, I think leaving it at 4,500 is not, is a good thing.
But that, yeah, because in reality, that'd only be three
Right.
hearings.
Sale of copies, it was, actual has been 350, budgeted was 50. Bump it up to 200.
Yeah, don't even think about that. Just do it.
Okay, let's not worry
200.
about it, do not pass go.
Well, 200 sounds fine. 100 of that was just one gentleman for a freak thing earlier this year, so
Okay.
200 sounds good.
Okay. First, fire companies. So.
Okay, that's a wash, that's an in and out, correct?
So last year it was 50,000.
Budgeted. And, $20,000 in September.
What is that reimbursement on the fire company for? Is that from the other townships?
Right, is that from, Middle Smithfield and Price?
We have, Price, I don't think Price, we have Middle Smithfield, Shawnee Fire Company, Marshall's Creek Fire Company, and Delaware Water Company.
Right, but I mean, I think, well, I don't know if it's this line item or another, but we do get money from Middle Smithfield and Price that goes to Marshall's, Creek, right?
I think it's, workers' comp.
Oh, okay.
Marshall's Creek.
Well, we have Marshall's Creek and Shawnee and.
Oh, for the fire company.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know, it looks like that was, just under 50 for last year also.
Right.
Okay, so then maybe I'm just, I was thinking that foreign fire insurance reimbursement is what I was thinking, that turned out to be 48,000, so maybe that's the number that we were working on with Lynn. That's why I thought that was a lower number.
So we'll leave it at 50?
Lower than, well, we can, I mean, for 2021, it might be higher than, so yeah, I think 50,000. Right, I'll double check.
Actually, you know what, over the years, there's been reductions of all the things, and that was before COVID. Last several years, they've reduced it each year.
So 50 or not?
I think 50, and again, it is what it is. We get what we get, and we have nothing to really say about it.
It goes right out.
It goes right out.
So
Right.
we'll have a corresponding expense on it.
Yeah, but I think the actual insurance is higher that Smithfield pays out, because they're only reimbursed for the other township portion. So in other words, the expense is gonna be higher anyhow.
And what, I don't follow that. What's
They're
that?
only reimbursed for a portion of it, not the 100%.
It's 100%,
It's a third,
yeah.
but still, Smith Township, this will be, responsibility is still gonna be, a third is gonna be
They
their
might,
form.
we have to look at the expense
Yeah.
factors on that. Maybe they separate that out like this.
I think and again, it's what we get, we disperse, no more, no less. We don't augment it, we don't supplement it.
Okay, so I'll just make a note to double check with Lynn, and then that will also affect the
Where is
expense
one?
area.
So it's already charges for service, are we there? Pretty much basically what that is the agreement we have with our sewer authority. We share this space, we don't charge rent. And, one of the employees, two of their employees really, but one is a full-time person, and we, pay her salary, benefits, and any other expenses that she might, get involved with. So we don't know what that's going to be yet. That's going to increase, most likely because of the increase in the salary.
And if last year it only came out to 88, and even with a raise, that gives a buffer, so maybe keeping it at the 95 number?
I think that'd be
You get it at the end of the year.
comfortable.
Yeah, when do you bill for that?
That always
We
comes
get
in.
that, probably in December, because it's a guesstimate to end December,
Okay.
but Terry does that work for us, and she gets it right over to us and we approve the check, and so, yeah, that'll be 2020.
You'll get that.
Yeah.
So we'll leave it at 95.
I think,
Yeah.
Yeah, because this year might be about 90, and so 95 for 2020, but 2021 will probably be reasonable.
2021 will be a bit more, yeah.
That was 95. Spring cleanup receipts this year, everything COVID. So I think leaving it at 3,200 from last year's budget would be reasonable.
I would, just ask Julia, I think, got involved with it and talked it over with our roadmaster, board of supervisors, and I think it was probably the highest it's been this year.
Yeah, we started implemented a different set
we'll be comfortable, we're at that same number then, at least.
Well, 3,200 sounds like it's gonna be low now, so we've already got 2,700. I was just thinking, I know a lot of people weren't paying enough because of COVID. So
True.
if your fees change too, then maybe the 4,000 would be a good, okay.
4,000. That's our regional parks, and it says, and again, it's intermunicipal with Middle Smithfield Township. I don't know how we got to 1,500. But it seems to be right on.
Well, you got 1,100 last year, and it looks like that's what they get. So I don't think 1,500 would be reasonable.
Okay.
So what is it? What it is?
When will you bill for that? That's another,
Like,
when will you bill for that? Is it something you get at the end of the year?
We don't actually bill for it, but we have some cash expense.
200.
Which line item are we on?
Right now, we're on 367, 200,
What did we put for the spring cleanup?
4,000.
4.
Okay.
Yeah, we should just cut that out. I mean, it's just meaningless. I don't know what it means.
With reimbursement for regional parks?
Well, you do get something, because you did last year.
Maybe that was for cutting grass or something, I don't know.
Yeah, we have some kind of reciprocal stuff going on. I'm not exactly sure.
Because isn't there a joint account for at least one of those regional parks?
Initially, there was, but I don't know anymore. That would have been the waterfront. No, not waterfront, River's Edge.
Right.
Yeah, Jacob, I'm not sure. But it's not gonna hurt to leave it there. And,
We'll leave it at
It's so little.
and then we'll find out what it is
Difference.
some other time.
Miscellaneous revenue, 2,500 budget last year, 3,300 so far, 2,500,
Okay, miscellaneous, this is fascinating. Every time I see this, I forget what it is. And this has been going on for quite some time. And we've been questioned by our elected auditors on this particular point, if you remember, Robert, it's several. And with good reason. And, Frank, do you remember what the heck this is? She will know, definitely.
Well, whatever it is, maybe we should get rid of it, rename it, or put it in different categories, so at least we can defend it.
Well, it's defendable, but.
All we have to do is present the receipts. It's
Yeah.
not like we're, we're getting money. It's not like we're spending miscellaneous.
So the 2,500 is good?
I think that makes sense.
But it's just one of those red flags where people say, what?
And that's,
I think that's the problem, is that
classic.
these are one-off, that are small amounts, that doesn't warrant having another line item for.
That's right, I think that's why it's here, but it is ambiguous at best.
But it could be a variety of things, so that's why it's kind of in one category.
Seems whatever we have here is clear for anybody to read online and know what it is.
Oh, yeah, no, that's true.
Well, the other thing too is, you could add a line item for each item that it changes to, but that would change from year to year, and I'm just not quite sure why that would.
Right. Yeah, no, that seems, I don't even know what that would be, but it's interesting. By the way, Robert, your mask matches your, suit perfectly. Did you buy it together? It's identical.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
You didn't buy it from
I
Ross?
didn't have it online. Sharon's gonna pull up the QuickBooks and see if she can see what it is. So they actually allocated a real big portion of it out, other areas for the audit.
In previous years for the first meeting, how far did you get? For an hour and 16 minutes, I suppose.
We're gonna get the income down.
Yeah.
Get the income.
Yeah, and that's pretty good.
Look to see what's in just this first.
Package, Lynn did, she put something in there.
Oh, but,
Talked in the past,
Transaction,
oh, yeah, this one, though, this is just some miscellaneous expenses.
Yeah, that's where we are.
310 that she put in the packet.
Yeah, but that's not the income. Sharon's gonna look it up and. Reimbursement of township.
Miscellaneous,
No, yeah,
miscellaneous revenue.
2,700, and can you double click on that? It's like 2,600 paying. Oh, then that
So,
shouldn't have
so that
been in
should,
there.
that was coded wrong.
That shouldn't even be in there, that should be in,
And what's that?
there was a liquor license fee that was
Right.
in there.
'Cause we did that in the very beginning of the year. I think our first meeting.
We did.
We did it 3 times after that, but that was the one for the movie theater with,
No.
alcoholic beverages, I think.
Is that the first one?
Yeah, 'cause Ralph Matergia, no,
Yeah.
well, the first time you did it was Ralph, and then it was John Dunn.
So that would mean our liquor license numbers are higher, miscellaneous, let's leave that at $1,000 for now.
Miscellaneous?
Mhm.
Okay.
1,000, that sounds good.
And then 389.001 insurance claims means damage, I don't think that's gonna be anything.
Most likely, I don't think that should be like 0, right?
Yeah, surely hope it's a 0.
And then receipts from authority for the bond, I think, Lynn gave us that.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's on the front sheet there.
Is that $213,000?
213,661, yep.
Right. All of that, well, all 4 of those numbers, 'cause the sewer authority also reimburses us, for that.
Sewer authority,
I'm following you, because down here it has the township, the sewer authority, we had 476,000 last year, which agrees with the budget. Is those 2 numbers added together?
the,
I believe it is.
Right.
In 2013,
Yeah.
I think.
actually, they're getting very close to paying off their obligation.
I think they're done in 2 years or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. I'd love to get that off our plate.
So I guess that'll be 473 then.
And, we,
that'll be an outgoing too, right?
outgoing, yep. And we pay the interest,
Well, the outgoing, I think, is all 4 of those numbers, 'cause one of those comes,
What for?
we're not at the same time, though. I think interest comes a little later, and we pay that in July.
right.
So, but as Jacob said, yeah, it's all one.
Yeah, but that's 473,000, because there's, so when we go back down to the actual bond outlay, it's all those numbers.
It's all one.
Right.
Okay, so the outlay is gonna be all.
What number is that?
So, but the income, let me just put this in here, is gonna be 473,000, even reimbursed from the sewer authority.
I believe the outlay associated is 471.100. And then there's 2 separate line items, one for the bond itself, and the other for that.
Oh, yeah, the 2.
Alright, so the interest is,
$31,011.
That's interest for both of us.
that's the deal, I'm sorry, $31,000.
$31,011.
And then the 2 of those added together, the principal?
$677,411.
Okay. Good job. All right, and then, back to the income side of it. On page 3 of 9, the balance forward is really kind of whatever you would make up potentially in your, out of your general checking account where you have surplus funds.
Holly, what line item, I'm sorry, where are you?
The 295.020.
Okay, balance forward,
It's
yeah.
a plug.
Yeah, that's,
Well, I'm trying to be nice about it. It's a plug based upon where our expenses are.
that's the last number.
Mhm.
Right. So they,
That's,
we come back to that.
And, the lower that is, the better off we are.
Absolutely. Okay, so
I
that'll be
think that'll be
last.
low this year.
All right, so do we want to, start on the expenses and work on that for a half hour, or?
But your schedules,
What's kind of competitive?
We can do a half hour.
Yeah, why don't we
All right,
just,
That way we get out, just before 12.
so, on the salary, Lynn had $230,000, $230,000 for the road crew. So I think what we should do is, for the salaries, have you all decided, any raises?
it's predicated on union negotiations, quite frankly. And, they'll come to us and we'll meet and we'll go back and forth and really come to an agreement. But we don't know what they're asking for, and we're gonna start, we should be starting those
Really?
meetings next month.
The contract expires February 28th.
Of 2021, and it's a contract for 3 years, expiring this time. This is the third time we're going around with it, and we just don't know what they're gonna ask for.
Question, what is the built-in, cost of living increase that we know?
We don't,
Under the existing contract, there would be something.
for the union?
This is
No.
the last year of the contract, so the raises that they got for the contract have already come through, and then any raise that occurs now will be.
Okay, so
2021.
2021,
There won't be a cost of living factor, only because in the union negotiations now, Holly, what they're doing is saying that, we want whatever. This is what we want. We want a lot of different things, but as far as money, we want a 10% increase, over the life of the contract each year. I don't know what they'll say. So it's a tough situation right now.
well, I mean, I don't know, let's think about this logically. How much are they gonna be able to squeeze blood out of a stone if COVID is putting people out of work and the township is in a situation where you are at the mercy of tax revenues, real estate, and things like that?
My understanding, that some people may be looking for just 1 year extensions of existing deals, because of COVID.
Yeah, so I mean, what are you going to ask for, and then, we can,
I think we're more reactive, if you will. We've got to think about it, though, we really do. We have an attorney, Attorney Heimbach, that works with us on it, and that's his specialty. Already he got back to us, and he's just thinking out loud with some suggestions. But I don't know what to say. I just don't know what they're gonna look for. You might be hearing things I haven't heard. You have to ask. I mean, they pay a lot of dues, and they earn it.
It's just, it's an unknown right now.
Yeah, that's
yeah,
true.
what I'm thinking is, I'm just trying to think how we could get that number, because, do we want to try to tackle that, or do we wanna wait until your negotiations start in November? Because you need to have this budget done when?
Before the end of December,
Like, you need to advertise, and
We have to advertise it.
by the 20th, I think.
We put some numbers down, and then we
You want to boost it 10%, what do you think?
can review it at the time.
Final.
Yeah. And that might be something that we don't necessarily I think we have to look at the salaries in total. if Lynn has 230,000 for the road, maybe we should look at that. Now, I mean, I don't wanna skip around, but the wages are gonna be one thing, and then the payroll taxes associated with that is gonna be another thing.
Yeah.
Those things are interrelated, so that then going straight down the road is not gonna necessarily take us where we need to go. So, if we look at each one of these as, 5% increase or 10%, usually 10%.
What does that mean?
In other words, like, last year, let's just look at the salaries for elected officials. Last year, you budgeted 45,000, and so far you've got 34. If you annualize it, it's gotta be closer to 45. If we said the 10% on top of that, you're close to 50. And if we did that with every salary line item, that's gonna be way conservative, because I don't think you're gonna go up 10% for everything. The only thing we have to take into consideration is they did budget the manager's salary last year, but we were only placed recently, so we have to look at that for all of 2020.
Yeah, that's entire, yeah. Yeah, no, 10%, that's.
Julia, did you have any ideas?
I mean, feasibly, the $230,000 number also doesn't compensate on anything like that. Basically, I don't have any information right now to put a viable number in there, but we could plug something like Sophia and.
Where is the road, I'm just looking for that real quick. Road two, okay, so the work.
Done at 4:30.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, annualized, I mean, we had budgeted 250 last year, so, yeah, and we really didn't have much, snow and all that other stuff, so that's probably why it's not quite as bad. Doesn't look like it's gonna be quite as bad this year. The 250 might be good for 2021.
Well, that's a good point.
Right.
It would, something that we can adjust though, correct?
Why don't we do this, why don't we put the numbers in there, because I need to actually pull them all together to come up with what the real tax expense is going to be.
Right.
So,
That's what I'm saying, let's put
at least it
something.
gives us something to start working on, and then if you say, no,
Right.
it's gonna be a 5% increase, then we just change all those
It's gonna be
numbers.
a slight adjustment.
Yeah,
And put them in the budget, okay.
250 sounds like a good number, because even if we don't match it this year, I mean, it's to our benefit anyway.
So on the road,
430.112.
Yeah, 250,000.
yeah.
And then, since we're right there, the salary for the roadmaster, is that expected? Is there anything you're aware of at this point that would make it change?
Yes, well, the most likely is we'll sit down and we'll take a look at it, and after we're done with this, and we have a pretty good idea where the hell we're going with this budget, then we'll sit down, and our obligation is to say, okay, we don't follow, this is another thing that's going on here. The union negotiations are on their own, they're unto themselves. And whatever we agree upon it's not necessarily reflected in our other employees, including the 3 supervisors, Lynn, Loie, Ken, the zoning officer, and Terry. So if they negotiate and we feel it's worthwhile, then they give and take, and they get a certain percentage, doesn't mean that same percentage is going to apply to these other people.
Everyone, right, okay. But the roadmaster salary, did you have to make any known changes on that? Because that looks like 67,000 is
But they're thinking just
pretty
the
close.
67 as a benefit.
Well, that 67 includes his OT though, right?
Did he get, okay.
Yeah, he gets, he
Take
gets
out of that
overtime.
line item,
The same line?
speaking, looking at the annualization for this year, he's got about $5,000 that we're looking at in overtime. So if you take his salary, multiply it by, 5%, and then add $5,000 to it, we're looking at about $71,000.
Okay.
And what would the 5% indicate?
Just a rate, that's the, what number is in now, so we can come back and, see what happens.
Okay. 71 sounds like a good number.
Large, I understand that, but you always wanna take your expenses and then.
We didn't have locked in anyway. Yeah, we're gonna come back.
Yeah, this
Right.
is just plug numbers in to get ideas for
We need to look at the big picture.
Right.
and other stuff like
You
that.
know.
Okay. So
You're right.
leave that road salaries at 71,000,
be in line, yeah.
45,000 seems like it's a good estimate for 2021.
Okay. For now, again.
Yeah.
Unless that one's gonna have an increase, because that could go up to 50 if we're talking.
Well, our board of auditors,
What we do is we make our recommendations to them, and we're in a situation right now with our elected auditors, where they will set usually an hourly rate, and that's the way we present it to them. But they do have the option, I believe, of setting a quarterly, salary or whatever. So, never had any problems in the past. What we present is very reasonable, and they've usually okayed it, but as, Julia said, ultimately, they set the salary, and only the salary, not the hours of work or any of that kind of stuff.
If we're pegging, Roadmaster at 5%, why not do that for most of what we're doing so we can sort of figure out then where we need to trim, like Frank and Holly have been suggesting.
We gotta get the big picture.
Inflate so we can deflate.
Yeah, well, 5% is okay, it doesn't matter. It's just,
Yeah, we'll come back to that, we'll put a number now, so we'll say, what, 45 or?
all right, what line item, where are you now? So,
5%, right?
50.
That would be, yeah, 50 would be 10%, close to 10%, so if we said 47,000?
Okay. So now,
Okay, 47,000.
what line item are we on here?
100, 105.
Mm-hmm. And your guys' stipend, let me keep that.
Right, yeah, that's set by state statute.
Okay.
7,500. Okay, so, are there any other salary items? Maybe we should just kind of kill those while we're here. Township manager salary,
What is that?
what is your annual?
it's 40116,
Okay.
right now, I think,
45,000? Okay, so let's put that at 47 as well. All right, and then what other salaries? 403, 105 tax collector salaries.
That,
7,000 looks like it's been pretty close.
Looks pretty good.
yeah.
They're not gonna change much.
Leave that. But
111 is fine.
5.
Assistant admin, there's 26 in here, but again, that's based, and you were shut down for part of the year.
We continued to, pay everybody.
So you had like close to 27,000 last year. Looks like actual come up around 22. So would 25,000 be reasonable, or
For the,
405.111?
so what, let's apply the same 5%,
Okay.
and that way it will be consistent.
So it doesn't look like 27 is a good number, so I'd say 25 plus 5% will give you 27.5. Right?
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
5. And then the admin secretary, 25,000 was the budget. It looks like that's gonna come out to about 23, so
Pretty close.
I would say 26.
Okay.
26?
Okay.
What's our next salary?
Yeah, this is down,
A zoning officer
Payroll.
somewhere in here.
so,
Yeah, I don't know where Ken's line item is.
What's that?
Uh,
You have salary?
yeah, 414, 110.
Yeah, and that's, 50,000 looks like it's gonna be really close, you're gonna come close to that this year. So 55, or 52, 500, 53?
Yeah, 52.5 is 5%, right?
52,
Mm-hmm.
okay.
Yeah.
55. Okay. And then,
I think, 429, 111. and then 429, 112.
Well, yeah, 110, 111, 112. Food enforcement officer salary. Looks like you're gonna be around 2,000. You're actual at about 1,000 now.
Yeah.
So if we put 2,000, I think that's very reasonable.
Yeah, 2,000 sounds fine.
Sewer admin salary.
That's Terry.
Yeah.
Right.
What is her salary now? Is she at a salary or is she
Yeah,
hourly?
No, she's,
52.5.
and that includes, she does get overtime also.
Okay.
Not a lot of it, but she does have the time.
So if we looked at.
She's gonna fall in line with, whatever happens in general with everybody but the, union.
Okay. So I think the annualization's gonna come out around 57, so that would put us up to around 59, 60. 60 sound good?
59,
We're just rounding off 60.
60,000.
Right.
Just for them.
And sewer authority clerk
Just
salary,
sort
that's
of
lowest, right?
No, that's Russ.
It's Russ
Right.
Albert. And
Your
that's,
annualization is around 10,000, so
yeah.
12,000?
That sounds like a good estimate for that.
About double.
You don't have anything for road foreman salary, you don't need that, right?
We don't.
Right.
All right, well, looks like we've nailed down the,
What do we get for the roadmaster again? I'm sorry. Holly?
roadmaster, 71,000.
Does that include the payroll tax? Or is it?
No, the payroll taxes
That's
will be a separate
we-
line.
we can- we
So we'll
calculate.
ignore that for now, but I'll put it all
Right.
together and come up with what that number should be. So that would bring us back up to the top of the expenses to fill in some of these other items. General government expenses, the Sweetwater Dam reimbursement. I think $1,000 based on last year's budget would be reasonable.
Yes.
General government expenses was 15, actual is high, what's
So
in
something's
there?
going on there.
So that is, okay, good, thank you.
So what does that entail? Two things are in there that,
You got a transfer.
What was their settlement?
there was a settlement with, there was a court case with, a development, a property owners association. We went to mediation, and, what could have been a disaster for us turned into a relatively, decent, settlement. And our settlement was made at $25,000, and she reflects it in that one. And then there's the transfer of $26,000,
That's to cover the new loan.
because of the new loan.
And it's interest
It
bearing
doesn't
too.
cover general government.
All for the purchase of the.
For the,
For the house at Marshall Falls.
So that doesn't belong there.
It does not,
To put that where?
That becomes the asset, or part of the asset purchase.
Yeah, but she's putting down, she's transferring the money, to cover the debt, the money.
Oh.
Right, and it's interest bearing at First National.
Yeah, because you have to put it in that bank account, and it's in Canada, so we can't, it's hard to get there, so I think the idea was to put 1 year.
Okay.
Right.
as opposed to every month.
So then that's not even expense, that's not
Well,
even gonna stay there.
Well, it's a debt service.
It's a- Okay,
So
so it needs,
principal and interest,
that needs to be moved down below,
it'll be in, yeah, we'll have to move that, but it's the proper spot.
right?
But it is a disbursement, yeah. But did that happen? Did you?
Yes, we did
Oh,
that.
well, you got that, because I heard there was a problem.
No, Robert took it up
With
there.
the title, everything got,
We're just waiting for the title company to give us a
okay, so
closing
you
date.
did get the clearance, did you close?
Not yet.
Waiting for the title company to set a date.
Okay, so you're beyond that hurdle, okay.
Right.
Last I heard, there was a little issue.
Yeah. Turns out, well, the people that had died, or that had life rights, had died 40, 50, years ago. Some of them were born in the 1800s, and so there was There was a couple of spots that Ron, I think, told us at our last meeting that he had to check.
Well, the title company,
Yeah, it'll go down.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
It'll be principal and amortization, and then, I'm sure you get the amortization. I think they didn't close.
No, just on the loan.
Yeah, right now it's just represent one. We'll have to.
I've just been, wondering whether this settlement is truly a general government expense.
I don't think we have a legal settlement line item, so.
Unless we can fit it in a separate account.
Yeah,
Look at
that might need to go somewhere, but when you take those two items out, we have about $25,000. Last year, the general government was budgeted for $15,000. So anywhere between 15 and 25 sounds like a good number.
Well, 20 sounds good.
You wanna call it 20?
Okay, I'm good with that. So we'll leave that at 20, but I know I'm making a note to ourselves that we need to, that this settlement we're not gonna see again, but we are gonna have debt service. We just need to move that 26,000 down to the debt service item.
Right.
So we'll make a note, we'll make a line in there.
Doesn't know this, then. Next.
Yeah, not too much this year, but, I don't know, I just got,
Who knows next year?
yeah, I actually gotta save the date for the PSAT convention for next year, but in the mail at home, I don't
For
think,
2021?
yeah, I don't think that'll happen.
Nothing's gonna happen.
So I would say like, maybe a 1,000 probably sounds reasonable.
Yeah, so
What line item is it?
This is, seminars and conventions.
460,
460.
1,000, yeah, 'cause nothing, it's gonna take another year.
And I think now the world has changed. I bet a lot is gonna be done by
Zoom.
Zoom and things like that.
But
Right.
it's still gonna have costs there.
Yeah, there's still the cost, but
Right.
not at the same volume.
What's been nice is we got a grant for, future tech expenses of somewhere in the neighborhood of like 15,000. Oh, well, 2023, was that all for the computer stuff?
Oh.
But yeah, but either way, this room, we won't have a rigged setup like that anymore. We're gonna have a nice podium, nice lectern and all that stuff. So that grant from the county really helped us, curb expenses on that end. So that'll be good for the seminar.
Grant from the county?
Yeah, for, CARES Act, small grant.
So we need to put that in.
Yeah, we need to have that.
Yeah.
How much was that?
$23,735.84.
Did we get any of that yet?
We received approximately, we received $6,690.01.
Okay.
And the rest of it will be on reimbursement, our reimbursement process.
Oh, so it's not a next year item.
Right.
No.
No,
And the other thing too, just brings to mind PPP. Did y'all do anything on that?
we did not
Yeah,
apply
we
for the
will.
PPP.
Okay.
The CCC that was put in the contract.
That was the same PPP program?
Well, I think it was an extension of it.
Did you say PPP or PPP?
We're talking about PPP.
Payroll protection program.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. Well, I mean, it's all the same sound, yeah.
Okay, so that, I just wanted to make a note of that.
But yeah, that's good for the Q3 stuff, I suppose.
And then the treasurer, that's usually.
Yeah, then you're right after. Come on.
Okay, so it looks like about 2,500 treasurer.
Yeah, I thought last year was low, but I didn't think.
Yeah. 2,500 sounds like a good
Okay.
number.
The auditor, do you guys, are you gonna be working with, Kirk, or do you have that up for bid?
Well, no, we're with Cook, of course, for this year, for 2019. I think it's just been completed.
You don't have a
We're not under
signed
any
agreement
contract yet.
Right.
for 20.
I think we're gonna ask for, RFPs.
You are going out?
Well, we should do that.
Probably should.
Yeah, well, I think here it's been done traditionally, although not required, but I think we're gonna do that again. The market's probably shaken up from, changes at Kirk Suma, so.
I think your costs are gonna go up.
Oh, definitely.
And no matter what.
For the
Oh, yeah, because-
That's low, yeah.
That's way low. I think you're gonna be between 10
That's
and
why we were with
15,000.
them.
Yeah.
Little Kirk.
So you wanna put, if you think it could go up to 12,
I know that, yeah, well, they have one,
I think you're gonna be between 10 and
10 and
15,000.
15, probably, well,
you wanna put like 12.5?
yeah,
12, and then I would get that RFP going
Mm-hmm.
sooner than later, so that way, you know.
Yeah, I think that's a decent number, 12. Okay, we gotta go to, come on, well, we gotta have it.
I guess I'll have to abstain on this line item here.
Yeah, I mean, gonna go down. So, you don't have an internal person, that's your, you know,
Right.
you know, so it is more efficient.
And I think some of the things we're, trying to map out the grants and making sure that, we have that properly mapped.
That's something.
Yeah, so now that we've
Yeah.
internalized that,
That might help.
yeah.
Like, if you guys get a handle on the grant, that would save a lot of.
Do you have anything new upcoming in the way of grants that you get awarded?
Now our office manager's handling, that, yeah.
Good, we'll be able to get it.
Do you wanna try something like 12 or 13?
12.5, maybe.
12.5?
The transfer tax commissions, I'm not exactly sure what that is.
Transfer tax commissions, would that be paid, the transfer tax commissions, would that be paid to,
The collector?
the collector? And does the county have a little bit of a fist in there? I'm not sure.
It looks like something that hits the fourth quarter. Nothing was budgeted last year.
With nothing budgeted, but do,
So where's that 4,300 come from?
I think that's the problem, because last year we didn't have an annualization column.
Right.
So I think because we hadn't had anything year to date, it didn't get budgeted.
There's nothing in this line item.
Okay.
So perhaps it was a one-time, we wanna just check on it before we pencil in anything?
Or. So it's part of the year-end journal entries, I'm not quite sure what that relates to then. It was a reclass. Real estate transfer. Oh, so is there a commission in the real estate transfer estate?
is there a commission, on real estate transfer tax? I believe
Would that go to,
we only get
Sharon
a certain
Gerber?
percentage of it. And, I think the county's involved with it, definitely.
So if the audit journal entry was about 4,300, let's just say 4,000, because obviously it probably was pulled out of another number.
Right.
Pulled out of the transfer taxes,
Okay.
so let's leave it at 4,000. And we have, collector 7, earned income tax commission, that must be another reclass as well.
Right, 'cause there's nothing budgeted on that one. How much?
Is that is that for the collectors to get incentives to?
Because that's collected by Berkheimer.
That's Berkheimer.
But there is a factor into what you get, right?
Exactly.
Right, yeah, don't they take it off the top?
There's no outlay on that.
Right.
Actually, no, that has had, back in 2017, that's got.
Maybe they used it in the past by bumping up the income and then putting it in. But I think now it's net is probably in the income. So I think we probably should zero that.
Well, yeah, 'cause we're already taking that out,
But the-
we have already reduced the earned income.
Yeah, we're going by net. And maybe they went by gross at some point. You know, and then they figured, but I
But they
think,
want it grossed up at the end of the year. Yeah, and that's the thing that I'm concerned with, is if we don't have it identified, and you do the budget to actual comparative on the audited statement, I don't know if that's gonna run us into a problem. So maybe we should keep that in mind, that we need to identify what that is at year end, make sure we make the journal entry.
So we'll have to look into this one,
Yeah.
see what's going on there, because right then we might have to bump up the income. It out back here.
Right. Tax collector's supplies.
Wanna do that like a 1,000, 'cause it doesn't look like that's,
So 1,000 there?
Well, this year's really low, but historically, 2017 it was 2,200, 2018 it was 3,000, and 2019 it was 2,800.
do we think it might run a lot high? You know, we might get some requests or something as the year closes out, people paying late?
I'm wondering if what we've seen for the expenses this year are
Right. You wanna say 2,000?
that would,
Keep it flat?
All right.
2,000. It's a deal. Local services tax
Again,
commissions,
this
again,
must-
this
this
is
must
another
be-
one. Okay, I'm gonna look into these guys. Tax collector seminars, nobody went to seminars this year, but probably will be for 2021.
You'll have to look at that 403-100 too.
Yeah, let me do
Make a
that
note
too.
on that, 'cause
Yeah.
that's the same idea.
Right.
Yes, I will.
That's just odd. Julia, what did, Sharon do in, previous years?
2017, $710, 2018, 21.
We wanna do like 750?
That's pretty consistent.
750.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the solicitor fees, I mean, we're not quite over budget yet, but if we look at what happened in the quarter of last year, you're close to 120,000 for
Right.
the year.
A lot of that's reimbursable, but it is quite a bit.
You think some of it is reimbursable, and it's in the wrong line item?
Oh, well, yeah, we'll go back to,
I'm
I
not
guess,
sure.
an income, when we 300s, the reimbursement for legal
Yeah, but
services.
that should be a
Well,
different line.
right, so do
Right.
we pay Ron, flat, like,
We pay
last
Ron-
year he was 85, is that just our bills that came out to that 85 or so?
That would be our bills, that,
Right, so the
submits his
reimbursable is
invoice,
separate
and we
line
pay
item.
him, and then we.
So perhaps he just has more work than before,
Oh,
so,
you mean this year?
yeah,
Quite a bit.
but we're still litigating the one big case, I don't know, it'll be 6 years from now, and that might be in court, so. The other one.
This year is, yeah, it's going to be definitely, it is already higher, and there's a good reason for it.
If you're involved.
We've had 3 litigations. We had the situation with the, property damage because of stormwater runoff.
Right.
We had the FNC Bank, that we talked about, and then we settled that for $25,000. And we have an ongoing situation now, the Water Gap Partners, and that is costing us a lot of money. Thousands of dollars, and it's not supposedly reimbursable.
You
We should really talk to both of you about that.
You maybe wanna call it 100 to pencil that in?
Well, one other thing to consider, we just received September 2020 bill that is included on the sheet, that's 12,000 alone. So
Right.
if you take that 83,
95?
and that's where we are now, with that October, November.
I think 120,000 is where you're gonna have to be.
Yeah, well, that's fine, you know.
For next year.
For the
Yeah.
guest, 120 is, yeah.
Not what you wanna pay, but.
No, but, you know, it's a ton, 'cause it's a lot of it, you know, our own stuff that, you know, we keep running into. It's unavoidable.
I guess we can call it there.
Yeah, I was about to say, we hit the end of the page, so, do we wanna,
We're gonna just start on the expenses.
Yeah.
and then we'll work on the, some of the other in-betweens, so that when Sharon comes the next time, she'll have like payroll expenses and so forth. What we could do is then Frank and I can make after, kind of, are you gonna do the next meeting?
The next one is,
It's next one.
October 21st.
I may have to miss that one, but I can be,
is that one at the same time, or is that only the third or fourth one that we changed?
The fourth
Fourth
one
one.
on November fourth, I believe, once again.
Oh, okay, all right.
I'm okay with that one, but next one, I think it has to go.
November 4th at 1.
But, keep me in the loop with the email, on the revised.
Right,
Yeah.
definitely.
So is there anything you need from us, or we'll talk to Lois, or we'll talk to Terry, or we'll talk to, Len?
Yeah, so that, like, Lois will have that recycling.
Yeah, what happened is, Holly, I went in and talked to her, and, just this year, they changed the whole way of going about it, and, it's not due until the, end of December, actually, and it's all electronic now, and we've got to get, Julia might be able to give her a hand getting so that she can do that report electronically. She's got to get, the whole, access system down. And,
So we won't receive that till 2021,
you're not gonna receive that till 2021.
but it looks like we've received in the past about $6,200, so I think
No,
historically,
no, this is 2,000, 2,500 to 2,200.
Historically, I believe, it's either March first or March 31st, usually, because of COVID, it's been pushed back in the budget, normally, because we'll receive the grant for this year, and the grant for 2021.
In 2021.
that line item from last year.
354.150, I think, is that where we are?
Yeah, but I think it actually got $6,200 last year, because we went back and forth with that.
No, well, then that's a different situation. We don't, 2,000, 2,200, maybe 25 was the most I think we've gotten. And that's, again, we have to go to our, to that industry, to the people who, pick up garbage, and they've got to give us their numbers.
Yeah, there's performance recycling grants, and then there's, looks like 2 were received in the same year, so I think you're around 3,000, 2,600 and 3,600. And then 6,000 would be twice the year, so we wanna just put that in for 2021?
2021,
And
yeah.
that's 354,
6,000.
point what? 150, 6,000?
6,000 is, because we're probably gonna get to 2 years, let's see here. I think the other stuff we got straightened out today. I think we got the other answers today. So I don't think there's anything else that Win or Lois need to get us. I want to just go back through the commission stuff, so we'll have that answers. And then we can march along with the other stuff. Yeah, the grant expenses, now that we know the income, I'll go in and I'll drop those expenses in. We can do that. And, I mean, if you want, we can drop them into the spreadsheet and add in the items that you can identify, like the grant expenses are gonna offset. The payroll taxes, and then this commission question, and I'll highlight them, so you know that these are items that I found out after the fact, and then for the next meeting, those will be available.
Yeah, that's a good.
Sounds good.
So our next meeting will be next week, Wednesday, 10 a.m.
Yeah, and Sharon, I believe can make it, I have to just double check my schedule.
In that case, then I'll move that we adjourn at 12:01.
I guess I'll second it, I don't think
Well, it's technically a public meeting.
it's not.
I'll never get my.
Well, it is a public meeting.
Yeah, but Jacob, it's not.
On you?
We
I
don't-
already have like.
It's really, made a motion, I
Okay.
There's no way they
Did you see that Pennsylvania has, actually deferred it?
Deferred.